So today we're going to look at how to edit a virtual machine and how we can add hardware to the virtual machine, such as the new disk. So while the virtual machine is powered off, I'm going to click the link Edit Virtual Machine Settings. In the Edit Virtual Machines dialog box, what I'm going to look at is adding a new hard disk to the virtual machine. So I'm going to click on the Add menu, and the new hardware wizard pops up, so I'm going to go ahead and click Next. And in this case, I'm going to add a new hard disk to the virtual machine. So I'm going to make sure hard disk is selected and click Next. In this case, what I'm going to do is create a new virtual disk that's going to be added to the virtual machine. This is going to create a new file on my host operating system. So I'm going to take the default here and click Next. And I'm going to go ahead and take the default type, which is IDE. I could add a SCSI as well, but I just have to make sure that my operating system has a driver for it. In case your operating system doesn't have a driver, you can always download the drivers from Vmware.com. But IDE is fine for our example, so click Next. And I'll go ahead and take the default disk capacity, but in this time, I'm not going to allocate all the disk space now. Rather, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let the disk space be allocated on demand. That's going to save a little bit of room on my host computer by not having to allocate all 8 gigs at one time. So I'll click Next, and all I need to do is just name the file now. So I'm going to call this one XPDisk2, and that's going to put it in the default directory that my virtual machine is in, and that's fine. So I'll click Finish, and now there's going to be a second IDE hard disk that's added to my virtual machine, and click OK. So next I'll power on the virtual machine, and in the virtual machine we'll go into Disk Administrator and we'll take a look at that new disk. Now that the virtual machine is started, right-click on My Computer and go into the option Manage. Once Computer Management appears, click on Disk Management, and in Disk Management the Initialize and Convert Disk Wizard will appear because there's now a new disk that has been added to this virtual machine. Click Next and initialize the disk, but don't convert it. Choose Next and click Finish. Now you'll notice there's a new basic 8 gig disk that the virtual machine sees now. To format it, right-click and choose New Partition. Click Next in the New Partition wizard. Create a primary partition. Go ahead and use the maximum amount of space on the disk. Assign it the default drive letter, and assign it the default partition name and file system type, and click Finish. Now there is a C volume and an E volume, and in fact we can look under My Computer again, and we can see the C drive and the E drive now show up under hard disk drives.